Today we're looking at Mafia the Definitive Edition.
There's no Mafia.
So let's get the basic info out of the way first. This one came out in 2020 and was published by 2K and developed by Hangar 13. Hangar 13 previously worked on Mafia 3, which we've actually covered on the channel already. So what is Mafia Definitive Edition, and is it still worth it, or was it ever? This is the Eyes of O Gaming channel, and hopefully together we can help to answer those questions for yourself. Let's get into it. Let's begin by setting this one up. So the game's present time is 1938, where the protagonist, Tommy Angelo, is meeting up with a police detective. The game will then have the player take control of Tommy, playing through his story of how he got to this point, as he relays it to the detective. Initially, we jump to 1930, where Tommy is a taxi driver and he gets introduced to the various mafia families. First by being forced to drive for two of the Saleri family gangsters, which then leads to him being attacked by Morello family gangsters. This all leads to Tommy wanting retribution for the attack, and is what ultimately leads Tommy to join the Saleri family and become a gangster himself. The game will continue on through the years as Tommy becomes a more trusted member of the family and takes on other missions from the boss, Don Ennio Saleri. Of course, since the game opens with Tommy speaking to a detective and telling his story, we obviously know that there's going to be some conflict that's going to arise, and the game just works through the story to tell us how he found himself in this position. Mafia Definitive Edition is a remake of the game Mafia, which released in 2002. It loosely follows the same general story of the original, but there are some changes to the story and dialogue, as well as other things that are just adjusted. The game takes place in third person and features an open world for exploration. However, the game will follow a very linear progression. Basically, you're playing out missions or memories of Tommy, but while playing these out, they take place in an open world. There are some optional side activities and collectibles, such as finding magazines or cigarette cards. A large part of the game also features driving around the map, and this is done by either using cars provided or stealing cars in the world. You can select to have either manual or automatic transmission, and there is a speed limiter in order to avoid police attention while on missions. Combat involves firearms that you'd expect to see in this time period: pistols, shotguns, and Tommy guns. We've also got a melee system and the ability to take cover in firefights. When engaged in melee combat, you also get sort of a finisher when you defeat an opponent. Police will chase you either in scripted events or if you're spotted breaking law, either speeding or getting into collisions, that sort of thing. I would say the game feels much more similar to Mafia 2 than Mafia 3. Mafia 2 had a more linear mission system similar to this game, whereas Mafia 3 is more open to the player to free roam around and do other things. The same thing comes up when comparing to GTA games. As in GTA, you have much more open exploration. Although in both you are progressing through main missions in the game, Mafia still has a greater focus on specific missions rather than leaving the player to just drive around in more of a free roam style of game. There's also many other similar games. LA Noire has a similar time period, though not exactly the same. Or games like Sleeping Dogs, which focus on the open world setting in a crime world narrative. Basically any of these games that are called GTA clones or open sandbox driving games, they could all have some similarity with this Mafia game. If there's anything else that you think are more similar, please mention them down in the comments, as well as why, so that other players can get an idea of what to expect in this one. In terms of what's going to be setting this game apart from other games, well, it's set in 1930s for one. I can't think of many franchises other than LA Noire, which is set in a similar period, though a little bit later. There might be some others, but most of the games that are like this that come to mind are the GTA or Saints Row franchises, which are typically contemporary to when they released. Of course, there's Vice City, but that was set in the 1980s. The fact that we have more of a focus on the missions is also different from most of these open-world driving GTA-like games. Usually those kind of games are all about the free roam with tons of side activities to do. But this one feels more like a classic style of game where, yes, you do have that open world, which helps the immersion aspect, but at the same time, it really keeps the focus on playing out the main story, the main missions. You're not really going to get sidetracked from the actual story to go off on some random thing or being forced to just drive around in some lifeless areas to collect things or do side activities. It's all set up so that you go to the mission areas which have been purposely designed and play out a specific story adventure. I feel like there's a greater emphasis on realism as well, again, when we're comparing to things like GTA or Saints Row, where Saints Row tends to be more in the absurd in its level of chaos, and GTA being somewhere in the middle. Mafia really tries to stay more grounded in a more realistic style. Of course, there's going to be firefights that would never play out in a completely realistic scenario, but you also don't have those completely over-the-top sequences that are in other games. So, as with any game, you can go online and see a bunch of bugs reported. Personally, I didn't run into anything though. Of course, this doesn't mean that you will have a bug-free experience, but I just share this so that you know that, at least anecdotally, a bug-free playthrough is possible. So, in my opinion, the graphics are holding up extremely well and the game looks great. It goes for the 1930s style, and I'm no expert, but it looks correct to me. If you have a more discerning eye for this period in history, you may be able to point out some anachronisms, but at least for me it looked correct. And I would guess for the average player as well. There isn't going to be a ton of difference in the environments of the mission zones, it's all taking place in relatively similar locations, but again, it's done really quite well. NPCs seem to look really quite good. Of course, this is all my opinion, so just use the gameplay video to determine if it's good for you. As far as the sound, again, I think it's done very well in this game. Dialogue is good and well written, the radio, vehicles, weapons, it all seems to work quite well. I'll play some examples of the dialogue and other sounds you can expect, so you can get an idea for yourself.
Take off, pal.
You alone? No self-respecting badges coming in here unless it's the health inspector.
Frank told me you ran into some trouble?
Yes, sir. My cab got smashed up pretty good.
Morello's thugs went after him by the kind of Tommy helping us.
This, taxi. That's your livelihood?
Yes, sir.
It's only a matter of time before Morello punches his ticket.
I don't need Salieri. Or anyone else. Not for this.
Okay, so we've tried looking at the game in a mostly objective perspective to this point. I know I had to sprinkle in my opinion in some places, but I try to just stay as objective as possible. Now that that's done with, I'm going to go into a more how I felt about the game, if I enjoyed it, how my experience was, and what I recommended basically to myself before I played it. Not every game is going to be for every person, so of course, whether I liked it or not, it doesn't mean that you will or you won't. Use the first part of the review to decide if you're interested in it, and this part is just for fun. So did I enjoy Mafia Definitive Edition?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked this one. I definitely liked it a lot more than Mafia 3, which I reviewed quite a while ago. This one felt a lot more Mafia-like than that one. 3 was alright for what it was, but I thought it was a lot of fun to play just as a stereotypical mafioso dude in a mafia crime family. This is kind of what I assumed one would expect coming into a game called Mafia, rather than playing as someone from the outside looking into the Mafia world and trying to dismantle and usurp its power to be something else. Having the episodic mission style was unique for an open world driving style game. I'm not sure if there's a genre name for games that are specifically like GTA or Saints Row or that kind of thing. Commenters have gotten mad in previous reviews where I say a GTA clone. I don't mean it in a negative way when I say that, I just don't know what else to call it. Really, when I say it, I'm just trying to explain the type of game it is, and I assume that's more of a genre, but anyway. Typically, those games, though, are just going to be totally open free roam games with missions that you pick up at specific locations. Having it instead set up as a mission by mission story narrative really changes up the feel of the game quite a bit, and also seems to help with having each location more thoughtfully constructed. Playing through a series of memories or flashbacks foreshadows that obviously something is going to go wrong. I really don't think it's a spoiler to say that the game actually begins with the main character speaking to a police detective. This kind of keeps you on edge though as you play through and begin connecting with the other characters that you're getting introduced to. The time period is also a nice change away from other games and the way things have been going, not Mafia, but just the open world driving style games. Everything seems to be going really modern or futuristic, and I thought it was a pleasant change to wind the clock back and revisit a time period from the past. I have played a little bit of the original many years ago, but I have no idea how true it is to that one. Honestly, when I played, I think I might have completed a mission or two, but this was when the game was still fairly new, and so I only remember driving around a bit. If you were a huge fan of the original, it's possible you could be disappointed if they changed something you really liked about it, but coming into this fresh as a first-time player, I feel like it's a really solid experience all around. If you like Mafia-style games, or even if you're a fan of the open-world driving games like GTA, and don't mind something that's a little bit more grounded and a lot more story-focused, I think this is an excellent choice. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this look at Mafia: The Definitive Edition. If you've already played through the game, please let me know down in the comments how you felt about it, if you agreed or disagreed with my own opinion, and also give the video a like if you found it helpful or entertaining. I post a bunch of other videos on the channel, not just reviews, but also walkthroughs and other gaming content, so definitely check that out and consider subscribing if you're not already. I would love to have you join the community and help direct the future of this channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, and until next time, take care.
You Tommy?
Thomas Angelo.
Detective Norman.
You alone?
No self-respecting badges coming in here unless it's the health inspector.
What can I get you?
Just a coffee, thanks. Dip your beak.
No, thanks.
Suit yourself. So, you said on the phone you might have a proposition for me.
That's right.
Well, if you're looking to set up a gravy train, you called the wrong cop. I'm not looking for any associates.